Second scan, same as the first, boss. No warm bodies. The ship reeled again, and the creaking of the hull didn't help Hector feel any more at ease. Low orbit hovering was never great on any craft, and he knew the old rig could handle it, but something was off about this whole thing. Creon had only been a 2-day jump for the Bessie, but now Hector was thinking he should have passed on the contract. Why in the hell are some second-rate junkers doing recon on a coalition prison planet? He said to himself. You mean a coalition prison on an inhospitable ice planet that hosts 10,000 of the quadrant's worst criminals, said Salazar with a smile. And we did it for money, for lots of it. There was no turning back now. All they needed to do was make remote contact. Pretty easy gig, of course. If remote contact wasn't possible, the other responsibility was to land and make in-person contact. Deep space comms went out all the time. He had been so sure that a short orbit and quick ring would have bagged them 200K. Prepare the lander, said Hector, and get me my gun. It was like a dream, or rather, a nightmare. Alaric swept his hand across his face just to make sure he was still there. He was. This wasn't a dream. His planet was dead. But it was more than that. The Empire was gone. He hadn't believed Mother when she had said it. Of course, the computer was never wrong, not when it came to numbers. She had said the time debt was 2,000 years. What had happened? Did the empire of 1,000 years fall? Was it over? Had we reverted to primordial chaos of element and nothingness? Alaric knew there was only one thing to do now, to visit that which was forbidden, to locate the timekeepers, to find answers. She was as good as dead. Every starfighter pilot knew the risk before they even entered orbit. You go down, the commander had said. You better scuttle that ship and void yourself. The Gorgons were merciless creatures. Take no prisoners was their mantra. Cassida had seen the holocausts, had watched the humanoid things eradicate a village of innocent civilians. She removed her helmet and rested her fingers on the arm panel. 4 digits is all it would take to end both her and her crashed ship. But she hesitated. The act seemed impossible. Such a waste of life, her life. If she didn't do it and somehow survived, she would be executed in a military tribunal. It was a lose-lose situation. What an idiot she had been. Saving Ryan's had been a risk, and now she was paying for it. Suddenly, a jolt of pain seized her body. Her heart felt as if it would leap from her chest as she fell to the ground. In her blurred vision, she watched 2 figures approach. They wore black armor suits and shielded visors in front of their helmets. Gorgon foot troops. She had hesitated, and now she would pay for it. They would torture her first, not for information, but the pleasure of it. It was said they sometimes ate pieces of their victims while they were still alive. If she could only reach her arm panel, she might still do the deed. But she was frozen in pain. The taller of the 2 creatures knelt and looked at her curiously, tilting its head to one side. It then pressed the lever near its neck, and the helmet retracted into nothing. Cassida's eyes went wide, and her jaw dropped. The thing wasn't a thing at all. It was human. "Welcome, Starfighter," said the voice. "Welcome to the Resistance." Eremos. A man might travel the 10,000 worlds and never dare step foot within 100 light-years of the planet. It was a death sentence. Price had known of the ominous planet since his earliest days at Naval Youth Academy. No ship that's ever breasted her skies returns to orbit with a man alive. Even the mightiest of those we boast can never flee from Eremos. Price frowned as he looked at Deck Officer Riley. Her face was pale. She looked like she might vomit. But he felt the same way. Only the worst of prisoners ever made this trek, to be fed to this terrestrial behemoth. Price wasn't a prisoner. He was commander of the West Chinook Navy, over 800 planets under his command. And now he was ordered to land on the Forsaken Planet, that a beacon had been sent, whatever that meant. Perhaps him and his crew were prisoners. What was waiting for them on Eremos? It's pre-colonial, said Brody. Possibly even Earth 2. So a combustion engine? Asked the young apprentice, waging a guess. Nice try, said Brody with a smile, brushing a strand of hair from her face. This is dark drive tech, antimatter, likely from an Aurelian cruiser. Aurelian? Said the apprentice with a smile. So after first contact? Exactly, said Brody. Which means this is big money, said Carlton, pulling the wench tighter. Why not just use the orbiter and pull it straight up, said the boy. Why disassemble it here? Federation rules, said the tall, former Marine. This is a Class 3 historical planet, protected by the tree huggers. But I don't see any trees, said the apprentice. Exactly, said the man. Politics always at work, even 200 light years from the hub.